What if you could totally transform your life, your health, your success, even your peace of mind, just by changing the way you think? Well, that's the powerful promise from one of the most influential self-help books ever written, and we're about to unpack its timeless principles.
You know those days, right? The ones where it feels like you're just getting hit with one bad break after another. It's an exhausting way to live, constantly fighting that feeling of resentment and defeat.
But what if that whole feeling of being defeated, what if it's completely optional? Peale's core promise is that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the master of them. And listen, this isn't just some wishful thinking. It's a practical system that has worked for so many people.
So Peale gets right to the root of the problem, and he calls it the malady of negativity. Now, what's so brilliant here is that he doesn't frame these feelings as some kind of personal failing. No, he sees it as a treatable condition, an illness of the mind that, just like any other illness, can actually be cured.
So what's the cure?
Well, it's captured perfectly in this foundational idea from the psychologist William James, and this concept is revolutionary. Your inner world of thoughts directly creates your outer world of experience. Think about that. It means if you want to change your life, you absolutely have to start by changing your mind.
Think of your thoughts as having like a magnetic polarity. When you're constantly dwelling on defeat and failure, you create this force of repulsion. You literally push success away. But the moment you shift to thoughts of belief, you completely reverse that polarity. You become a magnet for opportunity, drawing success right to you.
Okay, that all sounds great, but how do we actually do it, right? I mean, how do we break the habit of negative thinking that we've had for years? Well, this is where Peale moves from theory to action, and he offers this amazing toolkit of simple, spiritual techniques that literally anyone can use.
Here's one of his core formulas, and its power is just in its simplicity. Step 1, prayer-eyes. Basically, you make God your business partner. Step 2, picture-eyes. You create a super clear mental movie of yourself succeeding. And step 3, actualize. You work towards that picture with this unwavering belief that it is going to become real.
So how does this work in real life? Well, Peale tells this great story of a traveling salesman who was just tormented by insecurity. His sales were tanking because his mind, all day long in the car, was just filled with thoughts of fear and failure. He needed a way to recondition his thinking while he was on the go.
So he wrote these powerful verses on little cards and clipped them to the dashboard of his car. Now, between sales calls, instead of worrying, he'd commit these to memory. He was literally flushing out the old, insecure thoughts and replacing them with new thoughts of faith and courage. And you know what? His life and his sales completely turned around.
Peale also gives us this set of really practical rules for building self-confidence. What's so important here is how active they are. You don't just sit around and wait for confidence to show up, you build it brick by brick. You actively cancel out negative thoughts, you minimize obstacles in your mind, and you affirm your own power. I love this last one. Make a real estimate of your ability, then just raise it by 10%. It's so simple.
So self-confidence is one thing, but what about those really, really stubborn habits? What about worry, which Peale calls the great modern plague? It's such a destructive habit, and it just chokes the flow of vital power in our lives. So how do we break free from that?
Peale shows us how with another powerful story. He talks about this businessman who was a chronic worrier. Constantly rehashing the day's mistakes, never able to find any peace. He desperately needed a way to mentally close the books on each day.
So he created this evening ritual. At the end of every single day, he would physically tear that day's page from a calendar, crumple it up into a ball, and drop it in the trash. It was a physical act that symbolized a spiritual release. He was giving the day, with all its good parts and its bad parts, back to God. What he was doing, you see, was putting this very principle into practice. By physically and spiritually forgetting those things which are behind, he was freeing up all of his mental and emotional energy so he could focus on the future.
And this brings us to the core engine that really powers all of these techniques. Whether you're building confidence or breaking the worry habit, Peale is emphatic that the ultimate energy to remake your life comes from one place: consciously connecting with a higher power.
This is one of Scripture's most powerful promises. Peale explains that your mountain is just whatever specific obstacle is standing in your way. And the promise is that if you can face that problem with unwavering faith, a belief you feel deep down in your heart, you will be given the power to overcome it.
And look, this isn't just theory. Peale's book is filled with stories of this power in action. He shares these dramatic accounts of alcoholics who were considered totally hopeless cases, but who are completely healed by tapping into this higher power. The message is pretty clear. If this power can overcome a challenge that profound, it can absolutely help you overcome yours.
So, we end with this question for you. Think about the principles we've just covered: the power of your thoughts, that formula of prayerize, picturize, actualize, and the unlimited energy you can get from a higher power. What is the one specific obstacle, the one mountain in your life that you're going to apply these techniques to starting today?